The world isn't still. Things are constantly changing. But I know this one thing. Here we are, and we still bind and cry.
You can hear him yelling in the background.
On our way to victory, we shall not be moved. We're on our way to victory, we shall not be moved.
Negroes have not been able to in any way get justice.
Afroamericana es muy importante también.
The power of poor people.
And I was in my first year teaching, sitting in my office, proud to be a professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz. And a man knocked on my door, and he came in, and he said he represented a foundation out of Chicago. And that foundation in Chicago had funded the work of Highlander Folk School and Miles Horton and Septimus Clark on Johns Island in South Carolina to support these citizenship education schools, and they wanted somebody who could go and do an evaluation. And I'm an African American sociologist, and they wondered if I'd be interested.
The foundation didn't know that Herman's father was from Johns Island, and that Herman had and knew many of his relatives on the island.
I'm talking about family. I don't believe this was just some serendipitous incidents.
Herman arrived on Johns Island in 1967 to conduct his evaluation of the Highland Folk School. This school, led by Miles Horton, was a social justice leadership training program out of Montego, Tennessee, that had begun working with Septimus Clark, Esau Jenkins, and Bernice Robinson on the island.
I think of when I first met Esau Jenkins and began to visit in the community, started hanging out with Bill Saunders and others. The thing that hit me most was the idea of family, community, and faith. And as I was going around looking and seeing what I was seeing and learning what I was learning, I was finding there was a larger education entering my head, a larger experience. And I remember talking to Mr. Jenkins, or Mr. Esau as I call him, and as the people call him. I said, why did you want to run for political office? And he told me about Miss Wine, Miss Alice Wine. He said he decided he had to run because Miss Wine just wore him out, urging him, pleading with him. So I went to see Miss Wine. Never forget it. Went over to her house. She looked out the window, didn't know me, but welcomed me. So I said, Miss Alice, why did you want to register and vote? And she looked at me and she said, my daddy used to vote. I'm talking about memory now. Her daddy's inspiration to vote came from the time that we call Reconstruction. She remembered her daddy doing that. I'm talking about memory now. Unconscious, unknown forces that sometimes bring people together and you don't sit and think about it and you don't even know where it comes from. But the one thing you know is that the change is going to come. And you've got to be prepared for it. Our ability to hold on to memory, to continue to seek family, and to hold on to faith is an important part of creating each of us whose life did not begin at birth, but way beyond. I've had a very blessed experience of being able to draw on the strength of the roots in this community, the roots of an angel oak, the roots of a St. Mary's AME church. But roots are often tangled and dirty and not very pleasant. But that's what sustains the community, the grassroots. The future and the present is not disconnected from the past. The value of that is that we will prevail. The value of that is to understand how we've been able to overcome. The value of that is to understand how we've been able to build community and love when nobody saw it anywhere else. And I find those memories, listening and remembering, to be inspirational for us as we move forward and go into new worlds, much more complex worlds. We go with a strength and an understanding of the community and the unity that allowed these things to happen.